Good evening. Welcome to our evening of mentoring. Today is April 8th, 2021, and we're going to be talking about transforming and healing our power centers. Now, what exactly is a power center? Our power centers are the chakras of ancient Sanskrit description, and they're wheels of energy generating electromagnetic energy. And the most powerful one is in the heart. And we talked a little bit about that last time. So if you'd like, go back and review that. Righteousness is the rightful use of energy. And we are here on this planet to learn how to use energy. Now, freedom and empowerment is the gift for all. And Christ consciousness is the way of righteousness. Christ consciousness means you are loving and kind to every human being you meet, and you don't ever try to take advantage of them or take their energy. Now, we're living in a time when there's a lot of beings using the energy of the human beings, and it's created many energy leaks. In fact, I had a lady come into the office a week ago, and she had multiple energy conduits of leaking energy, her energy out of her body. It was being sucked up by other beings, and we literally had to disconnect those and disconnect some spells that had been cast on her in order to clear her energy so that she could have her own energy back in her body. And one of the interesting things too is her heart was broken, and so we had to bring in the energy of Amazonia and Hercules to heal her heart, because it was broken several different times by different people. So loving thoughts and unconditional selfless service is the mystical, which gives power to the whole. Using Christ consciousness or love in all things leads to our ascension. So, we're going to talk a little bit about this, because the heart center is the most powerful. It works on highly electromagnetized energy that actually works in kilovolts of electrical energy, and Gauss is how magnetic energy works, and it's the highest Gauss of the entire body. Our cerebrum works on very low voltage called millivolts, or 1/1000th of a volt. So our heart is 1,000,000 times more powerful because it works in kilovolts. Now, our pineal gland is piezoelectric. Now, what does that mean? Piezoelectric is it produces its own energy through pressure, because the pineal gland is a crystallized structure, and when it gets compressed on itself, it produces energy. And guess what else does piezoelectric energy? Our DNA. When it comes down upon itself, it starts forming energy and makes what we call a tetrahedron or a pyramid structure, and then another one comes from underneath, and they come down on each other and they start to spin, creating electromagnetic energy. So our DNA also creates energy. Even our bones create piezoelectric energy, because as we walk or as we run, the molecules are compressing each other, and it produces electric energy called piezoelectric. Now, piezoelectric electricity is the process of using crystals to convert mechanical energy into electrical energy, or vice versa. Our pineal gland is a layered octagonal crystal which interfaces with the optic nerve, and when compressed, either with force of breathing or compression of craniosacral compression, biochemical and electrical energy is released, creating a transmitter and a receiver which connects us to the unified field. Information results in a two-way communication. Now, those of you who meditate and do this effect, you first start out seeing these plates of energy called plasma. And that plasma can be many different colors. It can be white, it can even look like a picture. And as these are appearing, we need to focus on them and ask what the message is, because it is information, communication coming through to us. And as you communicate with the divine, you can receive very good information. It's interesting, Tesla would do this all the time, and that's how he came up with all the information to do all the experiments he was doing. Einstein also did this, and he felt like it was more in a sleeping mode, but he was actually communicating with the divine through his pineal gland. Now, piezoelectricity is an electrical charge that accumulates in certain solid materials, such as crystals, ceramics, biological matter such as bone, DNA, and various other proteins in response to applied mechanical stress. Believe it or not, this is why exercising actually energizes you, because you're producing piezoelectric effect through your muscles and bones, and it helps in the production of ultrasonic sound waves also. That's why sometimes when you go into meditation, you'll hear singing or you'll hear sounds coming through. And the energy is a DC current in millivolts. DC is a direct current, AC is an alternating current, and well, I lost that thought. Anyway, so crystals such as quartz can be tapped for energy using the piezoelectric mechanical energy discharge method. By securing the crystal and subjecting it to direct force with a permanent magnet, a detectable amount of energy or electricity is released. The piezoelectric crystals can be arranged in cascading manner, that is, in a series. Now, batteries can be put in parallel or in series. And believe it or not, series is the most powerful because it creates even more volts. So when you've got a lot of crystals layered on each other, it actually makes even higher voltage. So when the pineal gland receives a sympathetic innervation from the superior cervical ganglion, these are just anatomical areas in the brain. So our pineal gland can turn down the sympathetic nervous system by receiving a quieting energy through meditation. And it turns off the sympathetic nervous system, and the parasympathetic innervation from the pterygopalatine and optic ganglia is also present and innervates into the pineal gland. And so you can turn on the pineal by activating the pineal gland. And some nerve fibers penetrate into the pineal gland via the pineal stalk, and that's a central innervation, and that can lead not only to other parts of the body, but mainly to the occipital lobe, where it receives information, but it also communicates with the pituitary gland in front of the pineal gland. So sympathetic stimulation stops production of melatonin and serotonin and DMT. Parasympathetic stimulation increases the melatonin, serotonin, and DMT, and as well as increasing the dream states and your ability to visualize. Now, the pineal gland was commonly dubbed the third eye for many reasons, including its location in the center of the brain and its connection to light. Now, in some animals, such as fish they've even found pineals in octopuses and in jellyfish and different animals. And they found that this mystical gland activates through light energy. And that light brings about some piezoelectric effect, and it makes the pineal gland actually start to glow. Now, you've seen these fish with the little antenna that comes out, the little thing at the end that glows. That's actually connected directly to their pineal gland, because they live in the deep, dark parts of the ocean where there is no light, so they have to create their own light to stimulate their glands. And so it's quite interesting. Mystic and esoteric spiritual traditions suggest it serves as a metaphysical connection between the physical and the spiritual worlds or other dimensions. So, the pineal gland activation brings a more significant connection to the natural world and a willingness to let go of ego and pursuits that shut out our soul. Lucid dreaming, astral projection, and an enhanced imagination are topics related to the pineal gland activation. The pineal is a gateway to higher creativity. Now, how do we stimulate the pineal gland? Yoga, especially Kundalini Yoga, meditation, focused breathing with muscle-assisted locks, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Taking certain supplements such as GB pituitary or epipineal helps stimulate and assist the energy of the pineal gland. Doing a detox or cleanse, removing fluoride, chemicals, toxins out of the body actually helps the pineal gland work better and helps the whole brain work better for that matter. Using crystals or charging crystals and putting them close to your head is actually very good for helping stimulate the pineal gland. And quartz, believe it or not, quartz crystals are the vibrational energy that impacts our pineal the best. Now, there are other types of crystals, but we're not talking about crystals totally in this. We're talking mainly about things that help stimulate the pineal gland and help transform your power centers. So creating sacred space with statues, pictures of ascended masters, having large crystals around actually helps activate the pineal. Now, why is it important to access the pineal? It is our connection to the divine, and that connection can deliver even more power not only to our pineal gland, but to all our energy centers. Being quiet and peaceful actually helps activate our energy centers because you're focusing on the divine and in nature. Another thing that really helps is getting out in nature, because that is a connection to the purity of God out in nature. So it helps energize our energy centers. Now, I'm going to demonstrate Kundalini Yoga. I was taught this a very long time ago, probably 24 years ago now, and it was quite interesting to learn Kundalini Yoga because I had done all kinds of breathing exercises. But this Kundalini Yoga, I learned it because I met this man, Dharma Khalsa, who was an anesthesiologist and converted over to becoming a Sikh. And I met him at a conference with the American Academy for Advancement in Medicine, and I was researching for ways of helping Alzheimer patients, believe it or not. And they had a whole conference about it, and Dharma Khalsa actually talked at the conference. And afterward, I met him and was able to speak with him. And he wrote a book called Brain Longevity. And in the book, he describes all the methods and chemicals and different things, herbs you can take to help your brain function better. And so brain longevity just means helping your brain last longer. But when talking with him, he also taught about Kundalini Yoga. Now he did a particular type, and we'll demonstrate that right now. What you do is you take a big deep breath and quiet your mind and then release. Now he would start in the root chakra and literally bring energy up from the earth up into the root chakra and tilt the pelvis just a little bit forward, again using pressure and locking the root lock, which is tightening the pubococcygeus muscle, which is the muscle that stops your urine, cuts off the stool. And so you do this at the same time, taking in a deep breath and moving your pelvis forward and locking that root lock with your muscles, the pubococcygeus muscle. It's like doing a Kegel exercise, and then release. And he would do it 10 times. We're only going to do it 3 times because I want to have more time to discuss other things. So take another deep breath. Bring your pelvis forward and do the root lock. Hold your breath, preferably for 10 seconds, and then release. Breathe in again. Bring your pelvis forward, lock that root lock. Hold the breath, and then release. Now, it's interesting, you're using your sacrum as a fulcrum, and it's an actual pump. In craniosacral therapy, they have you do these exercises that pump the cerebral spinal fluid. And as you're pumping this fluid, it actually stimulates the pineal gland. So let's go to the next energy center, and this actually energizes your energy centers too. So and with this, you bring your knees and your pelvis forward. So you unlock your knees, bring them a little bit bent, bring the pelvis forward, and lock that root lock as you breathe in. And you hold it for about 10 seconds. And then release. Let's do that again. Bring your knees forward, your pelvis forward, locking that root lock. Hold it for about 10 seconds and release. Breathe in again, bringing your knees bent, your pelvis forward, lock that root lock. Hold it for another couple seconds and then release. Okay, we did that 3 times. Now the next breath is with the solar plexus, or your emotional energy center. Now what you do with this is you actually twist to the right when you breathe in, and then twist to the left as you breathe out. So let's breathe in. Now lock that root lock, and hold it for a few seconds. Preferably 10, and then release, going to the left side. So breathe in again and lock that root lock. hold it, and then release. We'll do a third one. Bring in the breath, lock that root lock, and breathe out and center yourself again. Now we'll move up into the heart chakra. Now, Dharma taught me how to bring your hands up to the level of the energy center you're working on. So when you're on the stomach, you got it down here. When you're up to the heart, you're up here. Take in a big deep breath. Now we'll tilt to the right with this one and lock the root lock. So breathe in and tilt to the right. And hold it for 10 seconds and then tilt to the left and release. Breathe in again. Lock that root lock. Hold it for a few seconds and then release. We'll do one more. Breathe in. Tilt to the right. Lock that root lock. Now this time we'll center ourselves and bring the energy up to the roof of the mouth with the tongue, and click your tongue against the palatine, against your palate, which helps vibrate the cribriform plate, which actually hits the pineal gland. And you can bring the energy up and store it if you like even. Now, that's a whole other method, but we'll just continue with this for now. Now bring your hands to the level of your throat energy center, your sound box and your ears. You breathe in and you bring your shoulders up and you lock the root lock. This is actually a double lock where you're locking the energy both with your root chakra and your throat chakra by bringing up the shoulders. And then when you breathe out, you release. Breathe in again. Lock that root lock. Hold it, and then release. Breathe in again. Lock that root lock, and now we'll bring it up to the roof of the mouth with your tongue. Click your tongue to vibrate, and you can bring it up and store it up in the highest chakra above your head that you can reach, the 8th chakra, or just continue it to be stimulating your throat chakra. And this is energizing your power centers. Now the next one is the third eye area. Now this one, I was taught that you start forward with your head and you move it around as you breathe in to the back, lock that root lock, and then as you're breathing out, you bring your head forward and you're going in a clockwise circle. Breathe in, lock that root lock, bring it around and breathe out. Breathe in, bring it around, lock that root lock, and then breathe out. Center yourself, and you bring your eyes up, and bring the energy up to the roof of your mouth with your tongue. Click your tongue, and I like saving it up in the 8th chakra because it keeps the energy nice and pure. Now, we're up to the 7th energy center, or the mental center. And in that center, you act like you're an angel. So breathing in, you bring your arms back like you're diving off a cliff, and bring your head back as you breathe in, and lock that root lock, and bring your shoulders back as far as you can, because that also puts pressure on the pineal. And then breathe out by coming forward like you're in a pose of where your hands are down, clasped together, and your head's down. Now breathe in again, bringing your head back, your arms back, lock that root lock as you're breathing in. Hold it, and then release. Now we'll do one more. Okay, come forward, and then breathe in, bringing your head back. Lock that root lock, bring the energy up to the roof of your mouth with your tongue. click your tongue, stimulating and vibrating, and bring it up, and I like storing it up in the 8th chakra. So as you do this, you can do that 10 times per center, and it energizes every inner center in your body. And you may produce some sweat on your brow. I always get a little sweaty and hot when I do this, and it's called tapa. And that is spiritual energy actually warming up your body. And the tapa is the sweat being produced from your glands, your sweat glands, because you're actually stimulating every gland in your body by doing this. And there's a gland associated with every energy center. With your top one, it's your pituitary, and then the pineal is the third eye. The throat chakra is the thyroid gland. The heart chakra is the thymus gland. The solar plexus is the pancreas gland, and the sexual organ is in the second or creative chakra, and then the adrenal glands are associated with the earth because they hold the minerals, and they're with the kidneys. They're actually retroperitoneal, which means they're behind the peritoneum. They're not a part of the solar plexus. They're behind and in their own space in the back. And embryonically, they start clear down in the root chakra and move up. And as you know, the water or the bladder is stored just below the pelvic bone, and the kidneys rise up and are connected to the bladder, but they start out at the very bottom of the embryo, which is interesting. So let's move on to the next part of the lecture. Uh-oh, my thing stopped working. I need to click. Okay, there we go. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so breathing the earth energy in for 3 seconds and breathe out, and breathe in the great central sun. This is another type of meditation that we'll bring in. Once your pineal glands get activated, and believe it or not, mine's activated right now. I'm seeing kind of energy all around me that is, it makes it look like I'm looking through a cloud or a haze, only less so, but it's activated my pineal gland even though it's still light. And you can do this and you'll know you're activated because it'll look a little cloudy as you look out. Now, this is the other meditation. Once your pineal is activated, you breathe in the earth energy and you hold it for 3 seconds and then breathe out. And then breathe in the great central sun energy. Bring it in, hold it for 3 seconds, then breathe it out. Now you breathe in again, and your intent is to travel into the void of creation. Now the void is the nothingness. There's nothing there. So when you get there, you literally, there's nothing. And you don't see anything, and if you're seeing stuff, you're not in the void. So you need to activate that your intent is to go to the void of creation where God created the universe with God's unconditional love. And I always ask the divine architect to meet me there to create with God's love the highest probabilities or possibilities to heal and perfect all of my energy centers. Now we've got more than just the 7. We've got, 12 energy centers and even more little nodes that have energy in the human body. We are total energetic beings. And so you ask the divine architect who was created and assisted with the creation of the universe, being one of the first creations of the Creator, and you ask that the possibilities, the divine possibilities, be created to enhance your energy centers, making you healthier, stronger, and more attached to the Creator. And you hold that visualization of God's love into the void, into each energy center, and then you breathe it out. Now, I do this 3 times, so the law of 3. So again, I breathe in again, bringing the energy from the earth and release. Then I bring in the energy from the great central sun, hold it for 3 seconds and release. Then I breathe in again, I travel into the void of creation where God created the universe with God's unconditional love. I ask the divine architect and God's love to create the highest possibilities and probabilities to heal and perfect all of my energy centers. Now, you can do this your own way, and this is just how I've learned to do it. Hold it for 3 seconds, visualizing God's love coming from the void into each energy center, so you bring those possibilities. Now, there's no time in the void. There's no space, no time, no body, no one. It's just you, and you call in the divine architect to assist you, and you create these probabilities and bring them into every chakra in your body, and then breathe out. And so we'll do that a 3rd time. Breathe in the earth energy for 3 seconds. And release. We'll breathe in the energy from the great central sun and bring it in. And then release. And then we breathe in again. I travel to the void of creation where God created the universe. And with God's unconditional love, I ask the divine architect to create with God's love the highest probabilities for my body and all my energy centers to create perfection in my body. And then release. And so these are 2 very powerful things that will activate and give more energy, produce more energy. Our energy centers, I gave a little talk today talking about fear and anxiety. Fear and anxiety actually shuts down our energy centers. We actually contract our energy and we contract our DNA, and our energy centers become smaller. I was lucky enough to have a man here in St. George who had a video Carillion photography, real time, and we played with it on my body. He was looking at my chakras, and he would say, think of something really fearful, and I'd think of something fearful, and all of a sudden my chakras just kind of went really darker and weren't as large. And then he says, think of the love for your wife, and boom, they just brightened right up. And so what we think about creates our energy. And so when we go into fear, it actually contracts our energy. So don't go into fear about anything. Have faith that God's in charge. Know that everything is fine, everything is working out, and just believe and be faithful that everything's going to work out and be fine. And guess what that does? That opens up all of your energy centers. So, at the end, invoke the highest and greatest possibilities to enter into your energy centers. By adding this at the end of each of your meditations even, you don't have to do the meditations I showed you. You could do your own meditation and just add this going to the void. That's what I do with the TMers. They're still doing the transcendental meditation. And I have them go ahead and do that, but at the end, bring in this energy into their energy centers through the God's love in the void where creation happens. Now, when you create stuff in the void, guess what? That's the beginning of creation. Energetically, it activates in the etheric energy first, then it starts creating, and when we add love in the emotional center, and then we add our imagination, which adds mental and causal body activation, and you keep in a high vibration, which activates the emotional center to activate this, and you continue focusing on it until it actually creates it in the physical body and in the physical environment around you. You can create wealth, health, all kinds of stuff by doing this. So by adding this to the end of your meditations, your energy centers will actually shift each day into higher states of energy, bringing healing, organization, cellular changes, strengthening your organs, your glands, your bones, your ligaments, tendons, systems, skin, and total body health to new levels, which is fantastic. So, for all of it, at the end, always give gratitude, because gratitude is the ultimate energy of receivership. In other words, in your mind, you just say, for all of this, I send forth the deepest gratitude, or I'm very grateful to God for all of this. So be it, so it is, I am that I am. Now, when you make the statement, I am that I am, believe it or not, you're connecting to the I am that I am, because that's the name of God, the Creator. And gratitude is the ultimate energy of receivership. So, as you transform each of your energy centers, now, I like to bring a lot of good stuff into my heart, especially God's love. And in the present moment is the now, and it's time for you to love yourself. It's time for you to decree that love is a part of you and heal your auric fields, your energy bodies, and your physical body. Our mental thought creates intent, which creates thought, and thought creates the millivolts, which creates some energy. And then as we act by doing the meditation, we create cause, we create effect, and we construct, start creating constructs, and this affects our personality, it affects our personal reality, and affects the collective reality and our world reality, and affects the universe, affecting the universal reality. So that's why humans are so important, is we are the creators. Now, I always bring this picture in because the Divine Director asked me to give you a blessing before we answer your questions. So we'll do that right now. In the name of the Almighty, I am that I am, and by virtue of all the ascended beings of light and love, the ascended masters, the Elohim and their twin flames, the beings of the elements, the angels, the archangels, and all the other delightful cosmic beings of love and light, we bless each and every one of you that you will be able to reach in to your energy centers and enter into the void and create multiple possibilities for your energy centers to enhance them and enhance your multiple bodies of your physical being. We bless you that the best and greatest possibilities will be drawn to your energy centers as you do this meditation, and they will enhance your energy centers, enhance your physical body, your mental body, your emotional body, your causal body, and the etheric body, and the astral body, and create energy, beautiful creations that will come in and perfect your physical body. We bless each and every one of you that you will do this each and every day, go into the void and create new possibilities. Because as you create even more possibilities within your chakras and create more in the void, you will actually enhance everything in your world and in the world of others by enhancing yourself. We seal this blessing upon you in the name of the Almighty. I am that I am. So be it. So it is. So, we'll do a summary. Today I start creating a new possibilities for healing my body, and we apply the teachings and techniques. I hope you're doing everything else we've talked about. If you're not, go back and review it. The intent to love your life and all humanity and the earth will give you more loving thoughts and a more love-filled life. Now, we're still open to have people join us with the mentoring. So talk to your family, friends, and invite them, their neighbors, anybody who will listen. And next week we'll be talking about transforming and healing my voice and desires. And the assignment with that next week will be I practice telepathy daily, focusing positive thoughts to all the people around me. Okay, so let's talk about today. Let's see if there's any questions. Thank you, thank you. Okay, let's see. Is the void black energy? No, it is not. There's no energy. It's void of anything. When you're there, there's nothing there. So it may appear black to some people, but as I've looked at it, especially on a microscopic, I was taught to look at things in a macro or a macroscopic, in a regular vision, and then in microscopic vision. And as I looked into the void, there's multiple possibilities in the void that can be accessed, but we have to activate them with our pineal and our mind, our intent, and it activates them. So, you know, when people talk about it being black energy, no. The void can create light, darkness, sound, solidity, atoms, energy, plasma, all kinds of stuff can be created. Because as I go to the void and create, I can see all of that. It just spontaneously appears in the void. So no, I do not believe the void is black energy. The void is the nothingness, where our thoughts go and start creating possibilities. Okay, is the light of the great central sun on the other side of the void? When God went into the void and created the universe, the first thing that was created was the great central sun. So it sort of popped out of the void and created light for the universe. And so the great central sun is in the center of this created universe. Now, has God created other universes? Absolutely. And is there other things that may have been created? Absolutely. God is omnipotent, omnipotent. I mean, you know, all the omnis is what God is, omnidimensional, and there's an omniverse that is continuing to be created. So the universe has no beginning and no end, just like the Alpha and Omega, I am that I am. So it's interesting that you asked that question. And yeah, it's not on the other side of the void. The void can be accessed just through our intent to go there. So that's how I tell people to do it. Okay, how do you find time in the day for all these great exercises and meditations? Well, I wake up in the middle of the night and do a lot of it, because I don't lay there and go, oh, why am I not sleeping? I lay there and I go, oh, I'm awake, I might as well meditate. and I might as well create. I might as well breathe. And I start doing the love meditation, breathing in the love of God into my heart and then the rest of my chakras. And then I start, and if I can't go back to sleep, I continue. I just, usually I wake up about 2:30 in the morning and I go back to sleep about 4:30 in the morning. So for 2 hours, I spend in the middle of the night. And believe it or not, as you're meditating, it energizes your body. When I wake up again around 6:30, 7 o'clock, another 2 hours. It takes 2 hours to get a good complete cycle of sleep. I wake up and I feel pretty dang good. And believe it or not, by doing meditation at night, it's quieter. What was one of the situations? Peace and quiet. The middle of the night is very peaceful and quiet. And so it's a good time to accomplish these things. So if you're awake, start meditating. If you fall asleep, be happy because you fell back asleep. And so no worries about anything, because worry is the opposite of faith, just like fear is. And we need to have more joy in our life. We need to bring in these energies so we feel better. And believe it or not, I was 4 years ago, April 22nd, I had a near-death experience that I was dead. I was pretty dead. The only thing going was my heart, because it came from Hercules in Amazonia, and it was still beating, but everything else shut down. And so I've spent the last 4 years recreating my body. And believe it or not, I'm able to work 10-hour days now. I'm pretty exhausted after the 10 hours, but at least I can do it. And I can wake up in the middle of the night and do my meditations, do things that I don't have time for during the day. So I would just suggest to you to continue to do God's love meditation every day, to love yourself and all those around you. Bring in the higher energy into your energy centers. After you bring all that love in, might as well go to the void and energize new possibilities into your body through your energy centers. And we have multiple energy centers. Every organ carries frequency, and we can improve that frequency and bring it back to God's perfection through going to the void. And so thank you for participating tonight. We've given our blessing, and so I want to thank you all. And next week we'll go back to transforming and healing your voice and your desires. So that's going to be an interesting one too. So I hope you join us, and if you're not able to join, we are recording. We'll send out the recordings in the common link. As you've noticed, it's the same link for all the meditations and everything. So thank you, and we'll talk to you all soon.